Welcome back everybody. Today we're going to be kicking off Project Baja and getting into some of the fun stuff, because today is the day that we're finally going to be pulling the engine out of this thing and get it inside so we can start stripping it down, cleaning it up and sort of assessing the damage. If you have no idea what this car is or where it came from, then make sure you check out the first video in this series. I'll put a link in the cards and the playlist will be linked in the description. And without further ado guys, we're going to crack on. We're going to shift the TT out of the way, move the Beetle in the driveway and start pulling bits out so we can start pulling the engine off. So now it's just a case of pulling the wiring off. We've got these three wires that come through here. These have all got to be taken off. The alternator wiring over this side. The breather pipes, there's one that goes to each head, here and here. Can't really see anything. There is the fuel line, throttle cable, and then it should be good to give it a yank and pull it out. Right, sorry for the crappy lighting, but the engine is now out, as you can see. So, yeah, that was fairly straightforward and fairly painless. The only thing we did learn was we didn't have to take the wheel off at all to get the engine cage off. I'll try and give you some light here. You can see this bolt here unbolts, and then this tube actually locates on it. So, yeah, we didn't need to take the wheels off at all. So next time, it took us about half an hour to get the engine off with two people, and that was including messing around and learning that. So next time, be a lot easier. So we're going to just cover up the gearbox, the bell housing, and so no dirt can get in there, move the Beetle back to where it was, and yeah, then we can start tearing into the engine. So I've managed to get the exhaust pipes off, and unfortunately I did snap one bolt and one stud. I do say bolt because for some reason the previous owner had put the, he'd obviously unscrewed the studs or lost them or whatever, and had put these Allen bolts in there. So you might have seen me using an Allen key, which was a bit of a nightmare because these really don't want to come out, especially because they've been in there for 5 years sitting in water. So yeah, not good. So they're getting replaced. I've got some new studs and some copper nuts there. So they'll be getting replaced. The ones that can come out and the ones that are stuck in there I'll just leave if they're usable still. This is the one that snapped off here, and part of one of the studs also snapped off at the back, but I think it might still be savable. There's enough meat sticking out that I think I can get a nut on there quite safely, so I might not have to worry about this one. There's a stud missing from this hole, a stud missing from here, one stud missing from there, and one stud missing from the back here. So yeah, so they'll all get done properly when I reassemble the engine. Now it's just a case of taking off the carburetor, all the top end stuff, draining the oil, and then it'll be a case that we can pull the heads off, start getting the heads and the barrels out, cleaning up the barrels, cleaning up the heads, sort out a spark plug gap, drill that hole out and save it, and then slam it all back together, stick it in the car and fire it up, hopefully. So I've got pretty much everything off the top that I wanted to get off. I've also just drained the oil, so it's now completely empty, and I just need to basically clean it off a little bit before I go any further, because if you look around here, there's all sorts of dirt and stuff down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and brush as much of this away, blow it off with the airline and stuff, and then I'm going to put the intake back on so that I can a bit easier seal these holes off, and then I'll give it a proper pressure wash just to try and get as much dirt and grime off of it as possible before I go too far. So I've just opened up the garage door and pulled the van forward so that I can wheel it out there so I don't make a mess inside. So I've given it a wash as best as I can, and it's looking very, very clean now. It was filthy. You can see now, you can actually see light between the fins, which is quite nice. So I've got the engine back in the workshop. I'm probably going to take off this head first. I've drained the oil, and this is the one that's got the dodgy spark plug hole that needs a repair on it. So you can actually see it wobbling there. And yeah, I'll pop off this rocker cover and just have a peer underneath and see what it looks like. I don't know what to expect yet. I've not had this apart yet, so we'll see. We'll sort of discover this together for the first time. But tearing even further into the engine is going to have to wait until the next video. So thank you guys very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already for more like this. There are links in the description if you want to support me and support the build. You can donate directly or via Patreon. But that's all from me, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.